Alrighty, how's it going? I've been trying to film this, or I had the thought to film this at like the 480 hour mark, because I started doing research on my 500 hour service, and I was like, well, I might as well make a 500 hour review, a real review, and not just, you know, some mechanic going over things. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not very smart when it comes to working on stuff, so I'm just going to give you my honest opinion of what I think of this machine after 500 hours. This is a high flow machine. It's got the 4 couplers, or the 5 couplers. I had this one when I first got the machine. It had been damaged. I got it with 100, and I think we got it with 120 hours on it. And the first time I hooked onto this, it broke. I will say, when you go to order these, this is OEM Kubota. You can't go to some local hydraulic place and have them get this for you. This is a special Kubota OEM part. I really like the quick attach on this machine. When you get in the cab, there's a button over there. There's a lock button right here. You can unlock and lock the quick attach. I really like how that is, how it's hydraulic and not electric over hydraulic. I know on the Cat models, a guy I used to help work for, he had a 279D, and it was like electric over hydraulic motor, and that motor would go bad, and it was super expensive. So I really like this machine for the fact that it's hydraulic over hydraulic. I will say, I'm sure if you've looked at these machines, you know, it's loud. It's a louder machine, and I wear headphones or earplugs a lot. When the door's up, running it, these pins tend to rattle. It's super, super loud. Like, you'll just hear this clanking sound like that. When it's running, you'll just hear this, and it's annoying as hell. Getting in the machine, I do like how much room you have. I mean, when it's put down, there's a lot of leg room. Check out my Crocs. What's up? Oh yeah, this, like I said, this is a raw review. I just put our kids are gonna go to sleep, and I was like, I'm gonna sleep outside and film this. So yeah, straight up Crocs. No gimmicks here. Where was I at? Okay, yeah. I like the spaciousness. I like the overhead door. When these pins are closed, and when you're running across anywhere, they do rattle. Now, I've read you can do something about bushings, or maybe get new one of these to make it quieter. I've never done that, but yeah, it's noisy. So I recommend, like I said, earplugs, or I wear headphones a lot, noise canceling headphones with music. I do like, though, how much room you have in here, like the windows and everything. You can see pretty well the whole machine when you're backing up, or you're in tight areas. If you're working in the woods, mowing or bush hogging, you can see everything. So I like the visibility. I'll give that a 10 out of 10 visibility. And I like too how easy is for the door to close. You got these little levers on both sides. You just push them in, door slides down, and this will make it quieter. When the door's down, the machine is quieter. All right, so one thing I do also, I was kind of so-so about it, but on these machines, when you put your machine in float mode, there's a trigger back here. So whenever you want to grade, or you're back dragging, or you want to do a finish or keep the same grade, or whatever you want to do with float, however you want to use your float mode, to activate that, you push your bucket forward to the right, and you push this trigger all at one sequence. So you push forward, right, trigger, and then the float thing will show up here. My key's inside. I don't want to start it up, or I would go, you won't be able to hear me talking if I was running, so I'm not going to fire it up. But when you're in float mode, the bucket thing shows up here. And when you are in float mode and you're backing up or you're going forward, if you touch it like this and pull back at all, it shuts float off. So that's one thing I don't dislike, or I dislike, I should say. I don't like how easy it is to float. It comes off float, because in other machines, and like the Cat, it had a push button, and you push the button down, float stayed on until you're done with the float. So that's one thing I don't like, is how it comes off float. If you barely adjust it all up, it shuts float off, because sometimes you need just a little bit up to keep your grade the way you want it. The auxiliary hydraulics are on, and you're running an attachment. It's not that loud. It doesn't rev the machine up. It just stays steady. And actually, I'll be honest with you, the first time I was running a brush cutter, a high flow brush cutter, I didn't think it was on. I didn't think it was working right. I'm like, what the heck? So I got out, and I backed up and made sure everything's working and nothing was stuck, because it doesn't jolt the machine. It doesn't do anything. It's just a smooth engaged. I also like how you can spin your blade both ways on a bush hog. So this will go obviously counterclockwise, and this is clockwise. And then I have a 4-in-1 bucket, and this will open and close the 4-in-1 bucket. So whenever you're driving, if you want to hold it on grade with the 4-in-1, and you just kind of easily like push forward and move your thumb, you can open and close that 4-in-1 with your thumb, and it makes it really nice to keep it smooth. I like how easy it is to blow this thing out or open this up. The back opens pretty easy. There's a pin you can pull out here to keep it open. I personally pull my filter, at least blow it out before every job. Or if I'm dusty conditions, I actually try to take a leaf blower. I have a battery powered leaf blower. I blow this whole thing out every time, every day before a super dusty day. And this thing pulls out really easy. You have an internal filter and an external filter is all like one deal. I really like the lifting capacity. I've never ran into something and not lift what I expect it to. When you're trying to spot spin or turn quickly, it kind of lags. You kind of have to feel it. Once you're in the machine for many hours and you figure out how it works, you'll know what motion to make with your wrist to get the spin around. It took me a while when I first got into it, because a cat will spin, pretty quick. A deer will spin pretty quick. For this Kubota, I had to it's almost like I had to rock with it, like I was playing a video game. I had to spin it around real gradual and smooth. And once I got it dialed, it worked out. And I think that's because everything's hydraulic over hydraulic. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know, but from what I've read and looked into, that's why. Is the air conditioner, if you don't keep your evaporator core clean in the back, it will start slowly producing less cold air. It won't feel as forceful. So there's a YouTube video, I'll actually try to link it in the bottom. There's a hack, or not a hack, but like a tip, how to drill 2 holes in the plastic cover to clean out the evap coil. For a 75 horse machine, this SVL75-2 I think is perfect. I've ran a high flow brush cutter, I've ran standard flow brush cutters. I've personally never had problems with overheating. Then again, I always check my fluids, I always check my filters, and you just have to know like what is that attachment and that machine capable of. Because of that, my unbiased, honest, like I'm a business owner, my honest opinion on this machine is I like it. I've got thousands of hours on a Cat, a Takeuchi, a John Deere, a Bobcat. I learned on a damn Bobcat. I don't remember, I was like a 5-something or 6-something when I was a kid. Had foot controls and 2 joysticks. So I've ran lots of skid steers. If you can work on stuff yourself and you're more mechanically inclined, you probably like it even more. I'm just a dumb dirt bike rider that started an excavation business. So yeah, 500 hours, so far so good.